All right. So, if you guys remember what happened yesterday, we went ahead and went through the chapter 5 exercise. We got to go through the first two sections, which was the scenario for June and July that dealt with FIFO. So now we're going to be continuing on with question number 5, but this time your inventory method is periodic and it's LIFO. Okay, assume that all purchases were made on an account, round to the nearest penny. So in this case, I don't need you guys to journalize the entire transaction. We're only going to be focusing on entering in items into the worksheet itself, and from there. So yeah, so it's going to go a little more quicker because once again, journalizing, we've already done it for the first example. It's going to be rinse and repeat. It's the same exact information except different numbers. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So here, question number 5 on August 5th, okay? So we're assuming that we're starting from 0 once again. All right, so here, August 5th, you purchase a total of 1,200 toys at $1 each, with the freight costing you $50. Okay, so inventory worksheet. On August 5th, we purchased 1,200 toys at $1 each, with a freight costing you $50. Okay, so what is going to be my total purchase price here?
Your purchase price will be $1,200, and the total cost will be $1,250.
Perfect.
And your cost per item will be 1.04167.
Excellent. So this one, once again, we see a not so very nice number, right? We see that if we keep extending it, it's a lot. So we're going to be needing to use the equal round formula. Okay? All right. So then what happened next?
You return 200.
Okay. And you're willing to accept a 20% discount. So let's go ahead and figure this out. So did we actually return any items?
No.
No, we kept it. But however, we need to also recognize that this belongs to this batch. We only have one batch and one batch only. So here we're going to calculate 20% of $200, right? Because in this case, this is what we're going to be calculating. We're going to take 200 items. We're going to multiply it by the $1, right? And we're taking 20% of that. So what is 20% of $200?
40.
40. Good. Okay, so this is where I would want for you guys to kind of utilize it this way. So if you guys remember, we were talking about how this might actually make it a lot easier for you to understand, but also maybe easier for you to compile, since I was talking about this earlier. The first way, a lot of people were confused. So what I'm going to actually do is, in this little bottom thing, I'm going to actually create my running balance right here, right now, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to essentially make my totals, or calculate my total cost per item right then and there. So this is another way that you can look at it, just so then maybe this might be a lot more easier for you to understand, and instead of having to go flick back and forth. So in this case, since I have my purchases, right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tally them up right here. I'm going to say that, well, if I purchased 1,200, but I've returned 0, right? Then I still have 1200. However, I got a discount. So my discount here is going to be my total cost. Okay? Subtract whatever I returned, right? Because essentially on August 7th, that's it. I'm done. I'm cleared. It's gone. So here, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and solve for my cost per item now. So since I purchased 1,200 units, but I got 20% discount off of 200 of those items, I need to reduce my total cost by 40. So by doing it this right here, right, I'm essentially updating my inventory right now with so I know how many I have right away. So right now, so I have so I started out with 1,200 at 1,250. Now I'm down to 1,210. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to resolve and recalculate my new cost per item, which is going to be my 1,210 divided by my 1,200. Okay, which should give me now 1.008333333, right? So here I'm gonna update my inventory right here. So then as we go down, we don't have to keep going back and forth. We're just gonna do it right then and there. All right, so that we could see how much we have right now, the current amount of inventory. Does that make sense? So instead of doing it at the very end, we do it as we go. So here, this is my updated inventory. All right, so what has happened next?
We bought 750 units at $1.25 each with a freight of 45.
So on August 10,
I believe so.
August 10,
Yes.
750, 125, 45. Okay.
Purchase price $937.50. Then total cost $982.50. And then cost per unit is $1.31.
Good. All right. So then what has happened next?
He returned 50 broken toys for a full refund.
50 broken toys for a full refund. So I'm going to go to my returns and allowances. This time I actually returned 50 of those items. At what unit cost is each item that I purchased?
$1.25.
125. So let's calculate it right here. If I made a refund for 50 of those items, I should get back how much?
$62.50.
62.50. And right here, since this came from my second batch, I'm gonna go ahead and place it right here so I know how much I still have now, right? 750, right? I returned 50, so I should have 700. Okay, so right here's my updated inventory. Instead of doing it at the very end, we're doing it as we go. So here's my 700. That's what I have available. Next, I'm going to calculate how much my total cost should be. Because in this case, I'm refunding not only my units, I'm also adjusting the total cost. So in this case, I'm going to take my 98250. I'm going to subtract out what I returned, which was the 6250. All right? And I should get a total of 920. All right? Now I'm going to recalculate my cost per item. So 920.
Can you go up a little bit real quick before you go any further so I can double check something? total cost we did,
$937.50 plus 45. You okay?
yeah.
Okay.
I have a quick question. I
Yes.
missed the part where you, down below on the quantity where you have 1,200. How did you get that again?
This
Yes,
we
I didn't hear what you said.
oh, okay. Well, we purchased 1200, right?
Right.
But here's one thing that we have to do. We also made a refund. But in this case, we didn't return all 200 items. We just received a 20% discount. So what I'm essentially doing down here is I'm making my adjustment now. So you know how much you have and you have the total of available. Okay? So instead of waiting till the very last minute to figure out which one goes to which, I'm doing it as I go. In this case, I took my 1200 because that's what I first purchased, right? But I didn't return anything.
All right. Okay, I got it now. Yeah.
So then that's 1200 minus 0. Okay?
Okay.
Then the total, right? I have to adjust my total cost because it got a discount. So I took my total up here and I've subtracted the 40 to get the 1210.
Okay.
Okay? So that's exactly what I'm essentially doing for the second batch because I know that my second batch, right? I made the purchase of it, but I also made a refund for 50 of those toys. So I'm adjusting my inventory as I go. So in this case, do I have all 750? No. I returned 50 of those items. So that's what I'm going to reflect right here, that this batch is now no longer 750, it's 700. So I took my 750, subtract what I returned to get a total of 700. Okay? And because because I made an adjustment to my quantity, I have to also make an adjustment to my cost. So in this case, what I did here was I took my total cost of my 98250 and I subtracted out what I refunded for. So in this case, I subtracted my 6250 to get me a grand total of 920. Okay? So now, in case, when I solve for my cost of goods sold, I need to make sure I calculate the correct amount, right? I'm going to go ahead and solve for my new cost per item now because I have less items and I have a less of a total cost. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and take my 920 and I'm going to divide it by 700. So here I must type in my numbers because essentially what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use my calculations here. I'm gonna calculate my cost of goods sold. So I have to keep this there. Okay. So here I am, right? 920 divided by 700 gives me a cost per item now to be $1.31428. Okay, whereas before it was $1.31. But like I've mentioned before, it's because we have a change in quantity. We have to spread the freight across less units. All right, and I have a new total cost. So I'm not even spreading the entire cost amongst the whole entire 750. I have less now. So this is going to be a new adjustment. And I want to make sure that we understand. So instead of waiting to the very end to do it, we're going to calculate it now. Since we know, okay, for this batch, I don't have 750, I have 700. Okay? Everyone good with me so far?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So now here we are. What has happened on August 20th?
We purchased 400 toys at $1.50 a piece at a freight cost of $25.
Okay, so 400, 150. So now we are on August 20th. We purchased 100 toys at $1.50 with a freight of 25. Right? Yes. Okay. So what is my purchase price here? 600. Okay. What is my total cost? 625. Good. And then lastly, what is my cost per item?
$1.5625.
$1.5625. Good. Okay. So we have a quarter of a penny right here. All right. So every thousands that we sell, that is $4.
That would be a half a penny.
That's a quarter of a penny.
0.56. 0.5 is half of whatever.
No, but it's zero, point zero,
It's 5, 6, and then 25.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. 56 is the cents, but it's a quarter of a cent. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I was using the decimal point. My bad.
No worries.
I'm like, I forgot my thousands place.
It's okay. No, it's a quarter of a penny. So that means every thousand that you sell, that's $4 right there.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So there you go. So now that we entered that part in there, let's see what has happened next. Okay.
Quick question: are we moving that down, not to credits or adjustments, but down to quantity and cost in total for later on?
Well, let's see what the next scenario is, because if there is a return or a refund, then yes, we need to adjust it. But right now, the next scenario says that we made another purchase. So then we have to carry it down. Okay? So I'm only carrying it down if there's an adjustment made to it. But we don't know if there's an adjustment made to it. We only know that we made a purchase.
I thought we were using those lines for at the end when we were doing the, first in, first out, kind of when we sell and we go back and black it out. Yeah, that area there. Are we not using it for our inventory as well?
It's because if you guys remember from yesterday, you guys were confused of which one came from where and where the calculations came from. So I'm showing you another easy way. So instead of waiting to the very end to calculate these numbers, right? I'm showing you what you have actually now available.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. Because now we have the 400 that we just purchased.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Because later on we come back. How again? This I think if it was like highlighted in a different color, it probably makes sense to me.
Okay.
Because you know what I'm saying. Because this we're using last in first out, right?
Right, but right now I'm just making my list of inventory right now.
Okay.
I'm not calculating anything right now. I don't even know how much I sold.
No, not that's not even going in that far. But I understand the whole adjustment part.
Mm-hmm.
I just
So because you say you're putting the inventory in, he's saying why wouldn't the 400 go into the inventory?
Because the next scenario, right? We don't know if we made a purchase returns or allowances.
yeah, but we have to put it. I see where it says quantity, but would we have a reference point to say, hey, like the 1200 adjustment was for this date because we're using like I have kind of like a reverse chronological order.
Okay. So the reason why I didn't put it in right away is because right now we are on August 20th.
Okay.
I don't know from here on out. I don't know if there's going to be an adjustment later on because I don't know what the next scenario is. What if the next scenario said that I didn't make a return and allowance? Then I'm safe to assume that I can carry that 400 down. But in this case, remember, we did every scenario, right? We entered our information in. And then the next day, what happened? We had a return. So in this case, I don't know yet. But now that we just read it, it says that I made another purchase. So that verifies to me that there was no changes to this batch right here. So there I can safely assume I can carry that over into the inventory. Whereas let's go ahead and keep reading on. Where if I make my purchases of inventory on the 25th, it says right here, right after that, on the 26th, I returned something. So in this case, of course, if when you're doing this on a day-to-day basis, you're never going to know what's going to happen. But because we're doing this in class, I get to see everything. So I know, okay, well, this batch is good to go. But I'm trying to act if we are doing this case-to-case scenario. Like today's August 20th. All right, we made a purchase. All right, so now it's August 25th. We made another purchase. So that means my purchase from August 20th, nothing was changed to it. So now I'm going to add it into my inventory because I have the notion that nothing's going to change to it. So if you'd like, let's go ahead and take a second right now since we know as of the 25th, no changes were made. So I am going to now carry it down here, right? It's going to be the 400, right? Which we know what the cost per item is. It's going to be the $1.5625. And we know by multiplying this together, it's going to give me my $625 because we didn't make any changes to this one. So we know we don't need to make an adjustment. Is that what you wanted to say?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now let's see what happened next. Here, we recognize that it's April 25th. We end up purchasing another 600 toys at $1.75 with the freight costing you $30. So here we are. It is August 25th, $600, 600 units at 75 plus freight of 30. So what is now my purchase price?
1,050.
1,050. What is my total cost?
1,800 or no, 1,080. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's good. And then lastly, what is my cost per item?
$1.80 even cents.
Good. Now, all right. So Felipe,
Yeah.
if you want to, because we made the purchases, why don't we place it into inventory? Is that what? Okay. Yeah. Let's place it into inventory.
Yeah. I kind of see what you're saying now because I was privileged to the information that you had provided before.
Right.
So I'm already trying to bookkeep it, knowing that we're not having nothing returned. But like you said, everything changes day to day, and we're not gonna know. Was it like Monday night? Was it that one? Monday quarterback when you're like, oh yeah, I would have thrown the ball if I saw he was open, kind of thing. But if we go line by line, I understand now how you would keep it in the book
Okay.
and not assume that the 400 are just going to move down without seeing what's next.
Okay. But in this kind of context, if it makes sense to you, carry it over, and then when we make our adjustment, we can always adjust it afterwards. So let's try your scenario. So let's say this is our pretend inventory, right?
Yes.
Okay, so since I purchased new inventory, that means I carry down the 600, right? And I know for a fact it's gonna cost me $1.80, as we discussed. and we know for a fact that it should be 1080. Okay, there it is, 1080. So here we carry it down to our inventory. Now let's see what happened next.
Return 25 defective toys for a full refund.
We returned 25 items at a full refund. So now I know, right, since we have, that was my last inventory, right? We're always assuming that every batch that you purchase and you make a refund, it's going to be associated to the batch previous before that. So here, I am making 25 items returned. At what unit price am I going to cost it at? How much did it cost me to purchase those items?
$175.
$1.75. So I'm going to bring it from up there because this is my original purchase, right? Down below here, this is including freight. So here I put in 25 and I put in $1.75. So how much in grand total am I going to get a refund for? $43.75. So now that I have an adjustment, I don't have 600 items anymore. So this is where you could now associate this. You could say 600 minus 25. How much should I get now? Or how much I still have now?
575.
575 available, right? And now I need to also calculate my new cost, right? Because it no longer cost $10.35 anymore. Oh, okay. I mean, what was it? $10.80. So I'm going to adjust this. So $10.80 minus, because I refunded it for $43.75. How much should be my new total cost be? $10.36.25. Okay, so this is my new adjusted amount, right? I have a new quantity because I returned 25 of those items. I had to adjust my total cost because I refunded 25 items. I got money back for it. So now I have to recalculate my new cost per item because it's not going to be $1.80 anymore. We have a new quantity and we have a new cost. So in this case, I have to calculate my new cost per item because now it's $10.36.25 divided by my $5.75. All right, and what should my new total cost be now?
$80217.
There you go. Perfect. Okay. So that's, if you want to do it that way, enter in everything and then adjust as we go. That works just fine as well. Okay. So once again, we're just utilizing this so that you guys can understand so it doesn't confuse you as we, when we compute our cost of goods sold, where did these numbers come from? Well, here you go. We're going to adjust as we go so you can see what we actually truly have available versus guesstimating and have to calculate it as we go. In this case, I'm going to display it for you right now. All right. And if you would like, since we have a lot of space in between here, you can always have your total here and then calculate your cost per item or cost of goods sold down here, right? We have a lot of space. So in this case, utilize all the lines you can, right? If you need to, use the space below, right? No one says you can't use any extra space. You're not required to just stay on just the worksheet itself. Whichever way that helps you be able to find the answer, then do it, okay? So there you go. Now I purchased 600, but I made a return of 25 to give me a grand total of 575 available, right? I adjusted my total cost by reducing it by 43.75, and now I am at my new cost per item now. Okay? So then let's see what has happened next?
You have 1,500 toys on hand.
Okay, so you have 1,500 toys on hand. So let me go ahead and do this. Since I'm going to actually do it like this so that it makes it easier for you guys to see. I'm going to make the total right up here. Okay? I'm going to make the total up here. So then this is my total goods available. Okay? And by that way, I don't have to re-enter any formulas. I just make sure that I go through this exactly here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this just so that I know this is my goods available. Okay? Down here, I'm going to change this formula up a bit because I'm going to make this section going to be my cost of goods sold right here. So I'm going to utilize the space down here to calculate my cost of goods.
Second to try to do it on our worksheet.
Yeah. I'm just explaining as I go. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to put it on my worksheet, and as I'm trying to put it on my worksheet, you're still going. I feel like I'm getting super lost now.
Okay, I got you. I'm done. So right here, I'm tallying up what I have. These are my goods available. Okay, because I don't have beginning inventory. All right, here's my goods available up here. I summed up each one and I highlighted it just so then I know what this is. Okay. And then what I'm going to utilize the space below is I'm going to make this my cost of goods sold. So then I can at least, cell reference and know where these numbers came from. Okay? So instead of having to do a new calculation every single time, at least I'm able to see where the numbers came from. All right? Maybe this is a better way of understanding how we formulate or where these numbers come, when we calculate our cost of goods sold, how did we get these numbers? It's going to be right here.
What is the equation for E27?
E27. Down here? See, it's going to be equal sum, and I'm only going to highlight these 5 rows, or these 5 columns. Columns. Just these ones, because I'm going to be calculating my cost of goods sold right here. Okay. And then this one's going to be the same thing here. It's just going to be my cost of goods sold for these columns, because as I enter in my quantity, I'm going to have it automatically calculate my total cost as I go. Okay. Everyone good so far?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's see. What was the amount that we had? So on August 31st, you have a total of 1,500 toys. So 1,500 toys is going to go right here to ending inventory. Okay. All right. So now, what do we need to do first?
This is last in, first out. So we want to go start with our last batch.
All right. First, before we start calculating our cost of goods sold, what is the step before that? We need to tally up our totals, right?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
No worries. No worries. Okay. So let's go ahead and break it down. So let's tally up our columns. So first things first is we're going to solve for our net purchases. So we're going to go ahead and sum up our total purchase. How many units did we purchase in total?
2950.
So equal sum. Highlight all this and 2950. Okay. So once again, if you know how to use the fill handle tool on Excel, you can apply the formula up, down, left, right. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to pull my formula all the way across. Okay. So what is my total purchase price here?
3787.50.
3787.50. Good. And then what is my total freight?
150.
150. And lastly, what is my total cost? Yes, 3937.50. So I'm gonna format those real quick. All right. Okay. So now we're gonna start filling out our little section here to understand what our net purchases are. Wait, we got to do one more too. We got to sum up our totals of our purchase returns and allowances. So once again, how many items did I return?
75.
Right? We're gonna sum up our quantity to get a total of 75. And we're gonna also sum up our total cost. So what was the total that I actually got a refund for?
14625.
146.25. Okay, so give you a second to catch up here. So good. Okay. Right. So now working our way up into the net purchases. So let's go ahead and solve for that. How much in grand total did I purchase originally?
2950.
All right. And what was the original purchase price for it?
The 3787.50.
All right. Correct. Okay. Did we have any returns or allowances?
Yes.
Yes, we did, right? We tallied it up. We returned a total of 75 items, and it cost us a grand total of 146.25. Okay? Because we returned this, right? Our assumption is we no longer have it anymore. So therefore, when we solve for our subtotal, it's going to be your original purchases, subtract your returns and allowances. So in this case, I'm going to take 29.50, subtract 75 to get a grand total of
2875.
28.75. Same thing with here, right? If we had a total purchase price of 37.87.50, but we subtracted and got a refund for a 146.25, how much should we have now?
36.
4125.
Correct. Okay, so I'll give you a second to plug that in. All right. Okay. Now we know freight does not affect quantity, so this is going to be 0. But we know that it also affects the total cost, right? It increases it because now we need to take this extra cost and spread it amongst our total items here. So we have freight costing us 150. So because it increases the total here, we need to add these numbers together. So once again, 28.75, right? Because we returned 75 items, minus 0, plus 0, should give us exactly what we have here. But this time we're adding the freight. So 3641.25 plus the 150, what should we get as our grand total of net purchases?
3791.25.
3791.25. Okay? Which right here in blue, we seemed to have matched our inventory, right? This is what we currently have. This is exactly what we matched right here in blue. Okay? That's exactly how much we have goods available, and that's exactly how much the total cost is. So here we can triple verify that we're doing the calculations correct. Okay? Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and solve for down below. All right. We do not have any beginning inventory, right? There was no context of if we did or not. And yes, we just solved for our net purchases from right above. So I'm going to carry that down, right? I'm going to carry my 28.75 down. And I'm also going to carry my 3791.25. Okay? And here, right, my goods available is going to be exactly what my net purchases is because I have no beginning inventory. So you could, just for calculation purposes, make sure that you add them together, even though we know there is no beginning inventory. So it's not going to affect my quantity or my total cost at all. It's going to be what my net purchases are. Okay?
The goods available
Equal the beginning plus the net purchases, yes. Okay. So, given in this context, right, we were given that at the end of the month, someone went down to the basement and they took a physical count and told us that you only have 1,500 available. So our assumption is that whatever we have available and whatever we have in ending, that means whatever that we don't have, we sold. So in this case, what is my cost of goods sold? If I started out with $28.75 and I only have 1,500 left, how many items did I sell?
1375.
$13.75. Okay? All right. So that's our end goal that we need to look for is we need to calculate our cost of goods sold for 13.75 items. Okay? So once again, what costing method are we working on?
LIFO.
We are doing LIFO, which means
Last in,
Last
first
in,
out.
first out.
last in, first out. So instead of looking at the top now, we can pretty much look in our inventory worksheet space, right? This little middle section right here, because I placed it in order of the exact order that we purchased it in. So from looking here, what are we going to get rid of first?
575.
We're going to get rid of 575 because that's the last batch that we have. Are we taking all of it or some of it?
All of it.
We're taking all of it. So in this case, I'm going to take my 575. I'm going to copy down this cost per item if I really wanted to calculate it. And then I know for a fact that it is going to cost me $10.36.25 without having to calculate because I'm taking all of it. Okay? And here, once again, this is the number that's been adjusted, right? because originally we purchased 600, but we returned 25. I already made my adjustment here, so I'm just bringing it down. Okay? All right, so we got rid of 575 items. How many more do we need to keep go? Do we need to sell in order to reach our cost of goods sold?
Well, we'll set
800.
Say that again.
800.
800.
You need 800.
Yes.
Okay, so let's take a look at our batch up here. So if it makes sense to you, cross them out if you've already used them. Right?
Wait a minute, we're trying to get to the 1500, right?
We're trying to get to 1375. 1500 is what we have left in our inventory. Okay? When we calculate, we're only calculating for cost of goods sold while using LIFO method, right? If you've mastered or understand how LIFO works, then you can also understand how to find the ending balance, right? But in this case, I kind of want you to go through one method first and only stick with one method. If you can figure out the other method without like help, then that's good for you. Okay, but I'm only going to show you how to calculate the cost of goods sold. All right. So cost of goods sold, right? We're using LIFO. That means last ones in are the first to go. So in this case, my 575 was the last batch I bought. Okay. So we're only solving for the 1375. So if I got rid of 575, Melinda says that you need to sell 800 more. So let's take a look at our second batch. Which batch are we going to take out from next?
The 400.
The 400, right? Because are we taking all of it or some of it?
All of it.
We're going to take all of it. So here, for references only, I'm just going to copy this here and copy that. If I take the whole entire thing, I don't need to calculate it cost per item. I know the whole thing is going to cost me $6.25. Okay? Now, how many more do I need to sell to get to $13.75?
400.
Exactly 400. Now, in this case, let's look at my third batch. Am I going to take some of it or all of it? Some. So, I'm only going to take 400 out of the 700. So, in this case, I've already calculated my new cost per item. So, here, I can copy this down. And this is where, because it's not a very nice even number, I'm going to have to use my equal round formula. Because I can't sell a quarter of a penny, or in this case, I can't sell whatever 42.65 of a penny is. Okay?
4 tenths.
Yeah, exactly. I can't sell 4/10 of a penny. So in this case, that means I need to use my equal round to get a more precise number and a nice number that I can actually sell. Or in this case, cost. So here, I'm going to go, Nicole, are you okay here?
Yeah.
Okay, so here, I'm going to go ahead and type in my equal round. Right? The first argument, once again, is going to be the actual equation or the actual, mathematical equation that you're trying to solve. So in this case, it's going to be my 400 times my $134,285, right? You're going to end your argument with a comma, and you want it to 2 decimal places because we want to the nearest penny, right? Now we can go ahead and press enter. So how much is it going to cost me to sell those 400 items?
524.
520. Oh, I got 525. Did you round your numbers?
No, I didn't. I just did the straight math. I rounded it just to 1/10. Let me just take a picture.
Nope, I still get 120. I can still get 525. Okay, so equal round once again. So if you notice this, let's take a look at this one more time before we move on. If I were to go ahead and do this, right? Now it says that I have 71,429 pennies. Okay? You can round here or hide your numbers, but remember, if you're going to use this to calculate your ending balance, you may be off by a penny. So you want to be very careful about that part too. Okay, so it's always good that you round it right then and there, because right now it says that it's 71,429 pennies. I want it so then I can actually properly cost it. Okay, so 2 is 525 and 71 cents. So here's my grand total here. For selling 1,375 units, I got a grand total of the 2186.96. Okay? So what's my ending balance now?
$1,604.29.
1604.29. Okay, so that you could compute that by taking the goods available and subtracting out your cost of goods sold. Okay. Here there's yes.
You're in column D.
Column
Isn't
B.
your 1604 and 2186 backwards?
Say that again. My one.
Yeah. Isn't okay on your ending balance next to the 1500? Shouldn't those two figures be changed around?
Why would it be changed around?
I don't know. I have mine opposite, and I'm not sure why.
So your ending balance, right? How much did they tell you that was going to be in your ending inventory? Or how much did they say physical count?
1500.
1,500. Good, right? How much did you sell?
I think I put my two formulas backwards. Because
Okay.
I got the exact amounts,
Mm-hmm.
but they're just switched around, and that's why I was trying to figure. So I think that's what I did is I got my formulas backwards.
Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure you understood why I put those in the correct column. So if we sold 1375, right, which is exactly what we calculated right here. This is what we sold. This is what we got rid of. Okay. So that should be right. I totaled up my columns and it should be 2186.96. So again, how these columns work is it goes right across. Okay. So again, yes, it's the other way around. Your 1604 should be what your ending balance is, and you can always solve for that by plugging in extra numbers, right? So if you could solve that 300 plus your 1200 should give you 1604. Okay, so they just run across.
Yeah, when I did my formula way earlier, I drug it down, and so that when I put the one in, I just put the one figure in the wrong block. I put it in.
Oh, okay.
D6 instead of D27. So my math came out right at the end. It's just those two numbers were switched, and when I was looking at yours, that's why I asked so that when you clarified that, I went in. I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's what I did. Is I referenced the one number to the wrong cell. That was
Okay.
it. But
Yes.
mine's perfect. So
Okay. So
good.
okay. So I see now where you got it because you said you dragged the formula across. So right here, it would not work here. It's back at the formula. There's two formulas in here. So remember when we solved for we solve for our cost of goods sold would be taking this number and subtracting it, right? But we don't have this number right here. So that's probably where you copied the formula. Okay, so this one's a different formula. This one is you're going to solve your ending balance by taking goods available and subtracting the cost of goods sold. Where this one is we took our goods available, subtracted our our ending balance to get our cost of goods sold. So this one, they're two separate formulas. Okay?
Well, I had that, but what I did was when I was like, I did my calculations way ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I brought my one calculation over for the 2186, I had stuck it into D26 next to the 1500 instead of down below. And that's
Got
why
it.
it came up reverse. Like I said, the numbers are correct. They were just in the wrong spots. But I know what I did was it was just that my mistake of putting it in the wrong cell. The formulas and everything were correct, so I'm all good. I just when I saw that, it's like, what did I do?
All right. All right. Okay, so now I hope this is a lot easier for you guys to recognize where these numbers come from instead of calculating it as we go. Do you like this a lot better?
Yes.
Okay, it's a lot more, yes. It's a lot better to see so you know where you're coming from and where do these numbers come from? How did you get this number? So as we go through it, utilize the inventory workspace. That's what that middle section is for. It's for you to make your calculations necessary that you need to in order to calculate whether it's ending inventory or even cost of goods sold. So in this case, this helps you guys a lot because as we make our purchases, we can adjust as we go. All right. Now, don't treat this as if you are adding it into inventory, right? That's in accounting terms, that would be incorrect. Okay. But in this kind of way, if this helps make sense to you, utilize it. So I'm showing you many strategies in order to get to the same answer. All right. And this one,
I think this was kind of easier because what I did is where we have if you scoot down a little, if you scroll down, so that whole area right there for the quantity cost and the total cost,
mm-hmm.
for me, I just highlighted that area, including the 2875 and the 3791.
Okay.
And then I highlighted it over on the chart on the other side so I could see exactly where my numbers are coming from.
Perfect. Yes. And this is actually going to come very, very into play when we actually dive into chapter 7 and chapter 8 because, again, a lot of people, they can either learn by just visually looking at like this, or they need color codes to kind of make sense to them. So whatever means that you want to do it, it's fine. Okay. You guys are my first class that I actually color coded for periodic inventory. Okay. So yes, again, I'm trying to make any kind of way to make it so that it makes sense to you. All right. Because not everyone gets it the way the first time around. You may need some extra visual aids or whatever it is to actually truly understand it. So, yes, so this, once again, if it makes sense to you, utilize the workspace, edit the information as you go. So then when you do get to the very end to calculate your cost of goods sold, you know where the numbers came from. Okay? And good. If you like to highlight colors, so make them red, blue, green, to associate each batch, do it. Okay? So now we reach our end of our worksheet. So what do we need to do next?
The journal.
The journal. So, okay, so in this context, I didn't correct you the first time. So I'm going to correct you now. So it is now August 31st. So what is the first thing we're going to recognize?
The purchase.
Inventory, end of the month.
Inventory. Now, what do we have a specific item that we purchased?
Toys.
Oh, toys.
Yes. So for the previous one, you're supposed to actually place it into the actual inventory of this specific item that you purchased. Because again, inventory could be an umbrella, right? It could be a main account that has a bunch of items underneath it. So in this case, the first one, it is correct by general knowledge, but to correct you even further, you should associate it with the exact item that you've purchased it with. So in this case, it's going to be toys, right? Because our shop, we could sell more than just toys. We could sell bikes. We can sell scooters. We can sell gadgets. I don't know. Just, you could sell more than just toys. So in this case, I want you to be as specific as possible when you're dealing with converting it into a specific thing. If I do not disclose what it is and it just says units, inventory will always be the perfect assumption. Okay, so we got toys. What else is there?
Freight expense.
Okay, that's not going to come next. That's going to be one of the things.
Purchase expense.
Purchase expense is cost of goods sold, right?
Purchase expense, freight, and then beginning inventory.
Did we have beginning inventory?
Oh no, we didn't.
Okay, so in this case, no, we don't have beginning inventory, so we don't need to include it in here. So we have a freight, we have purchase expense, and then we have freight expense. Okay, so I skipped a line. What actually belongs there? Do you guys remember what it is? Purchase returns and allowances. Okay, so once again, I'm going to make that reference once again. When we first purchased all of our inventory items or all of our toys, we placed them in two buckets: purchase expense and freight expense. Now that we're doing a conversion, we have to distribute them now, right? A section for which one are actually going into inventory, a section where we sold the inventory, and we have a new section where we also have to get rid of some of the toys. So as we made our purchases, right, and we recognize that we have a return, we're actually essentially putting those toys in that very bucket, right, the returns bucket. So in this case, that's what it is. So purchase, returns, and allowances. Okay? So once again, what was my ending inventory? 1,500. Okay, that's the quantity.
1604.29.
Yes. Okay, so that's again rule of the accounting assumption. It has to be in terms of monetary value. Okay. What is my cost of goods sold?
$2186.96.
Good. What was my returns and allowances?
146.25.
146.25. And what was my original purchase price?
29.50.
$29.50. Where did you get that? $29.50.
Well, you said the original price. I got it from the top.
Okay, so purchase price. So this section here, not this one. That's the unit per. So what is going to be my total purchases?
28.75.
28.
41.25.
Okay, so remember, we're not looking at quantity. We're always going to look at the total dollar value. So in this case, it's, what did you say, Alan?
I said 36.41.25,
Okay,
but that's taken off. So if you don't, the purchases would be the 37.87.50.
So the original purchase price, right? That's what I was saying. Original purchase price. Okay? What about the freight? How much was freight?
150.
150. Good. So let's go ahead and double confirm that our debits match our credits. Okay? So I got 39.37.50 on the left, 39.37.50 on the right. Okay? So remember, everything's going to be in terms of dollars, right? We cannot journalize units because of the whole monetary assumption. Everything's in terms of dollars, right? You can't write that you have 25 employees. You have to write that it cost me $100,000 for those 25 employees. So that's the rule of journalizing. Okay, so good job, everybody. Okay.
I just have one question.
Yes.
Going back down on the, when we did the inventory on the cost, like on the 1200, you have 1.008.
On the cost, okay.
Yeah, right there. How did you get that again?
Okay, so remember, we had, our original purchase was the 1200, right? And we saw for how much it cost us in total, including the freight. So we got a 1250, right? But then the next day, or 2 days later, we had a refund, right? But in this case, we didn't return any items. We only got a 20% discount, or in terms, it's an allowance. So we actually got money back because they made a mistake. They sent us the wrong color. So they're giving us a 20% money back. So that 20% gave us a total of $40 refund. Okay? So now here, our quantity didn't change because we didn't return anything. We kept the items. However, our total cost changed, right? It went from $12.50 now down to $12.10 because we have to subtract the $40 out of it. Okay? So what this is right here is essentially it is the new cost per item. It's taking the 1210 and dividing it by the 1200. Because we have a new cost, so we need to redistribute the freight all over against the number of units that you have. Okay, so if you remember, right, so 1,000 are going to be at $1, while the 200 are not going to be $1. They're discounted by 20%. So here we are, so that's where you got that number here. Okay. Any other questions?
And then on the one underneath is where it went from 750 to
700.
650.
Mm-hmm.
Right, give us 700.
Mm-hmm. To give us 700, correct.
Right.
And because we had to make an adjustment, right? Because not only did it affect quantity, it affected the total cost as well. So here I had to recalculate what my actual total cost was by taking my original $982.50 and subtracting out what I got refunded for to get $920. And this right here, once again, it's going to be a new calculated cost per item, right? Because now we have a new cost and we have lower quantity. So we have to redistribute everything once again to give us a cost per item. Right?
Okay.
All right. So now that we completed the first one, let me see. We could get started with the second one, but we won't finish. We'll have to take a break in between. So let's go ahead and just dive into the second one, and we'll just continue on after the break. Okay? So now, scenario or question number 7 says that we're going to continue on with the inventory from question number 5. Your inventory method is once again periodic, and it's still LIFO. But this time, what do we have that's different? We actually have a beginning inventory, right? Because we're continuing on from the previous month, so August 31st, you should have had 1,500 toys on hand. So let's go ahead and take a look at our inventory on hand right now by looking at the little section that we calculated already, right? We have the 1,200 here, and we should have 300 from here, okay? So what I'm going to do is, because we need to keep the batches together, or we need to keep the batches separate, excuse me, we're going to carry that over to our worksheet, our new worksheet over here. So exactly how we bought it, right? So the first batch that we bought was for 1,200, and it cost you,
Wait a minute, I'm getting confused. We wouldn't just take the 1,500 and the 1604.29 up there?
no, because again, we are having two batches, right? We still have the first batch and the second batch. If, okay, for
Ending balance,
the end,
ending batch that we had, right?
what do you mean by that?
Well, it says ending balance, so that's what we're ending with. We have that on hand, right?
Correct, but think of it like this way. You have two boxes, right? One box that has 1,200 units and one box that's already been dipped into with 300 left.
But I thought that's why we did all the calculations to get the 1604.29.
That's correct, but we didn't actually physically calculate this. We actually just took one number and subtracted the other number to get this number. We didn't actually calculate it per section. Does that make sense? So in this case, where did this 1,500 come from?
That's what's physically was counted from the warehouse, right?
Correct, but let's look at our batches. So in grand total, which batches were there to make up the 1,500?
I feel like I'm completely lost on this part, because if it says on scenario 5, you have 1,500 toys on hand for August 31st. So then for number 7, it says August 31st, you have 1,500 toys on hand. Wouldn't those be the same exact numbers? Wouldn't we just transfer them over for the next sheet?
Yes, that's what I'm doing right now. But I'm not gonna take the full 1,500 and transfer that over. I'm gonna take it as I see it in my batches. My first batch is 1,200, and then I have 300 remaining to get me a grand total of 1,500. Yes?
The only one
No, I'm confused too.
Okay, think of it as buying milk.
last in, right? Last in, first out.
Correct.
So the last in is August 25th for 600. Why would we use the 1,200 if that's from August 5th?
No. We already got rid of.
We already got rid of it. We're transferring what we have left over. Okay, here. I'm gonna do something a little confusing for all of you guys. Okay, so let's pay attention. Okay, hold on. Let me get rid of my cell reference here. Okay, let's take a look. Let's physically take a look and actually take a look at what I'm gonna be calculating here. If I sold my first batch, right? It's last in, first out, right? I sold my 500 units. Boom, it's gone. Next batch I sold was 400. Boom, it's gone. Right? Oops, I typo there. Okay, boom, it's gone. But my third batch up here, I only sold 400. So whatever 700 minus 400 is going to give me 300 left. How much do I have left in my inventory?
1,500 then.
1,500. And you have to keep the batches separate. Because think of it this way. Let's go back to FIFO, right? If I bought milk, would it be right for me to bundle them all together and just sell them all at once?
No, you gotta do first in, first out.
Well, in that context, yes, but what do we know about each batch? Each batch has its own separate expiration date. So would it be right for you to combine them together and sell them the way that you sell them out? No, because you shouldn't sell your fresh milk first. Or if you mix them all up, right? If someone goes to the store and they pick up the first one and it's about to expire, they pick up the second one and it's still good for the next month. Then they pick up another one and it's about to expire. No, that's not what you should do. So in context, right? If we're gonna apply it to this, although this is last in, first out, right? Think of it that way. You want to keep your batches separate. But what you're going to do is you're going to transfer over what you have in ending inventory. So in this case, I'm going to transfer my 1200 over. I'm also going to transfer over my 300 because I have a grand total of 1500 left. But I'm going to keep my batches separate because I'm still doing last in, first out. So in this case, when I do that, right, I may not even end up dipping into my 1200. That might be still reserved for the next time. So that is what this concept here is, that we're not going to take the bundle of the 1500 and take my 1607 and divide it by that to get my new cost per item. That's weighted average. In this case, I'm carrying over exactly how I see it. I'm carrying over my 1200 first batch because that's the first batch I bought. And then I'm going to carry my second batch over, which remains 300.
So you wouldn't reverse them since it's LIFO? You wouldn't do the
That's what
300?
I'm really confused about.
Yeah, you wouldn't put the 300 and then the 1200 if we're going backwards?
Oh, on the new one, we still got the 300 still going to be the newest, and the 12,000 still going to be the oldest.
Yes.
Right.
So we still, when we go to a new one, we still got to, we'll put the 1200 down first,
Yes.
then the 300, and then we'll get rid of the 300 first before we get rid of the 1200.
Correct.
Melinda, did you get that?
Well, kind of. I'm
I
still.
didn't.
So here let's do the exercise first, and then it will make more sense, okay? Because right now you guys are thinking about a concept and you're not really understanding it. I can't physically show you unless it's down on here. So let's just go through the exercise, and then after that you can ask the question once more again and tell me why that part is confusing, okay? So right now, this is what I have available on hand, right? So let's put back the numbers so then the worksheet's exactly how it was before. 400 and this was 575. Okay, so I'm gonna transfer it over into my new batch. So let's just do that first. So question 7. I have my 1200 units, right? And it is for the total of 1210, right? So I'm going to go ahead and multiply those two together. So 1210, right? And then I'm going to transfer my new batch, right? Which is for the, my second batch for 300. Okay. And its cost per item is going to be the $1.31 for 2. Now I'm going to go ahead and multiply those across. Okay. And here, this should equal to be the 1500. So I'm just going to add them up real quick. 1500. And it should be for the 1604 1604.29. So I'm going to equal round this because it's not giving me a good number. Okay, so we know that this should be hold on. Where am I? Okay, so equal round. Comma, comma 2, right? So that should give me 1604.29, which is exactly what we solved as my ending inventory, right? 1604.29. Now,
Hold on, real quick.
okay,
So the 1200 was from
the first
spreadsheet.
batch that we bought.
ETL.
Say it again.
Can I see your equations for 1200 and then the cost item?
Oh, on which side?
The question 7.
Question 7. Okay, I just transferred them over. That's all I did.
And we got the 300.
Because that was remaining, right? We had 700, but we subtracted 400. Okay?
300 came from the 700, right?
Correct.
Oh, what is your equation in that box in H?
This one, I just added them up together. Oh, wait, H 7.
For the
Oh,
300.
300. It's just, I just typed in 300. No equation there. I just typed it in.
Mine came out to 28 cents.
28 cents. Did you round this number? Because this one, I cell referenced it from the previous page.
31428. Well, I stopped at 5. If I went,
Once again, if you stop anywhere, you're rounding the number. And you want to make sure that you don't do that. You only round this number.
I got 920. Where did I go wrong?
920.
Oh, so the total cost is the cost per item times the quantity, right?
Yes. Or in this case, since this is supposed to be, what was it, 394.29, you may have to resolve for the cost per item here. So let's try that. So 394.29. Okay.
I got that for if I times the cost item by the quantity.
Okay, then that's perfectly fine.
I just want to try it instead of typing it in. I want to put the equation so I could cell reference it to understand how we got there.
Okay, perfect. This is a complete cell reference from the previous worksheet.
Right.
Okay, and then I just multiply these two together, and I did my equal round because this number's not very nice. So that's why I got the 39429. So again, Alan, you if you type this in, that's 100% going to be why you have a penny off. This is a complete cell reference, right? Because this number goes beyond than just what you see here. Okay, so if I put it into context, right? So this is where you guys were confused. If I were to put it into context and let's say I use this as my inventory that I have available, right? If I were to copy it exactly how I see right above here, right? I copy the 1200 down. I copy the 300 down, right? That's the order I'm going to go from. And when I make my new purchases, they're going to stack up below it. So then when I do my LIFO, I'm going to start from the bottom and make my way to the top. So is it now more clear?
Yeah.
When we transfer it over, that's what I was waiting for you guys to get. All right. Once we transfer it over here and we place it into our pretend inventory, it's going to be the exact order that we placed it in. And every purchase that we make, we're just going to continue stacking them up downwards. And when we calculate it, that's where we start from the bottom and make our way to the top. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and insert so this is my beginning balance. Remember that, right? We need to calculate it up here first because ultimately, that's where we're going to plug in our numbers. This is just our pretend worksheet that allows us to see what goods we actually have available. Okay? So I'm going to plug in my numbers once again, right? It should equal this, and that should equal this, right? And I'm also going to plug in this as well, right? I'm going to plug in this, and I'm going to plug in this. All right? And this, I'm going to make it all 2 decimal places. Okay, so there you go. Now we're stacking up our inventory. So when we make our purchases, they're going to continue going down here. All right,
Can
but
you put your cell references again down there on the bottom?
what do you mean? Show you what they are?
Yeah. But
Okay.
the 1200 was
I just cell referenced it directly from the inventory worksheet on hand, or inventory on hand. I just copied it down here. No formula here. Yeah.
up on top.
Yep. I just copied it from up atop. Just because one thing I've learned is if you copy and paste the cells over, you can get jagged numbers. So it's better to just actually cell reference each one. This is the same thing. I just copied it from there. This one, same thing. I just copied it from there. I even copied the total cost as well. That I just copied it from there. Okay, and just brought it down because I don't need to recalculate because this isn't where I'm calculating. Below this is where I'm going to calculate. Okay, so that's just placing in beginning inventory. Okay, everyone good with me so far?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead and see. We'll enter in 1 and then we'll take a break. Okay, so what happened on September 5th?
Purchased 650 toys at $1.65.
Okay, with a freight of 25. So, question number 7. It is September 5th. September's 9. We bought 650 toys at $1.65 with a freight. I already forgot. Is it 25? Freight of 25. Freight of 25. Okay, so I'm gonna format my cells real quick. So what is my total purchase price?
$1,072.50.
Okay, so once again, 1,072.50. Good. Plus 25 gives me a grand total of
$1,097.50.
1,097.50. Now, what is my total cost per item?
$1.60.
Okay, perfect. So once again, this is not a very, we will round this at the very end, okay? So now that we entered in this purchase, right? Let's do what, let's just add it into my inventory right away, okay? So I'm going to place it down here, right? We purchased 650, right? Boom. Copied it right down there. It's gonna cost me, boom, $1.6888. Well, I got 68846 too. Okay. And I know for a fact that this whole column right here is gonna cost me $10.97.50. You can calculate your cost per item however you want to do it, or your total cost could be the formula. But again, once again, this is just what we have on hand. We're going to use those formulas down below when we actually calculate our cost of goods sold. So this, I'm just showing what I have available. So as you can see, every purchase that we make, we're building our list. So if I were to just go ahead and stop here and say, let's calculate our our cost of goods sold, Which batch are we going to start from first?
650.
650, right? And there you go. Then we bring it up across. All right. Okay, so right now it is 3:03. I'm going to call break at 3:05. So let's just take a 15-minute break because because we have a lot of things that we have to go through. So let's do 15-minute break. So please be back no later than 3:20.
Okay, see that?
All right, see you then.